Hello, David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. Look, I'm just going to say it. James Bond socks. There, I said it. James Bond socks. Yes, socks like you put on your feet. What did you think I was saying? Listen, it's the little things in life. Don't you agree? I mean, to me, the accessories, the things that you put on that can kind of brighten everything up, that can add a little bit of whimsy and excitement, distraction from a rather mundane outfit is everything. I know Bond agrees, and we all agree as well. And we like things that are fun. We've talked about other brands that have brought something fun, and today we are here to talk about the London Sock Exchange. Come on, people, we're going to keep doing the puns. If you don't like puns, you should probably turn this off. I love that. I love the name of the company, the London Sock Exchange. And the London Sock Exchange have come out with some license pieces, working with Eon to give us something, I don't know, that could cause a little bit of a jump to our step. Yeah, it's going to be like bingo as far as all the foot puns. But here we go. This is literally an unboxing of this. I've got two boxes that I received from them. On the back it says, warning, these socks are no ordinary socks. Expect your FTSE. I think that's footsie. Aw. To experience significant outperformance. All right, bold claim, but these aren't ordinary socks. These are James Bond socks. We know because they're here in our layer. Our layer? How ominous. All right, so let's take a look at what you get. Oh, and I have not opened this up. This is unboxing, reaction, real stuff. All right, we will sock you. I just lost like 150 followers just by singing. It's so simple to do that. But here we go. Let me take a look at these things and what you get. So this is also, you can understand what is the experience that you're going to have if you order these. You get this great postcard, very thick. Very thick. It says the 007 collection. We do love a good yarn, which is why we've created an exclusive range of socks celebrating iconic moments from the James Bond film series. Just remember, these are for your feet only. I love that they have to say that because some of you would have worn these as mittens. Me, I would have worn it as a mask when I went grocery shopping. So thank you for the clarification. And here's how it all works. So welcome to the London Sock Exchange. New socks. For the duration of your subscription, we'll send you 3 pairs of socks at the start of each quarter. Okay, I think that's if you bought into the whole sock exchange. But these were just, particularly Bond purchases. Socks and chairs. We love seeing your socks in action, answering your questions, and hearing your feedback. And we know that because we're going to be speaking to somebody who actually runs the sock exchange. But first, let's take a look at what's in the box. What's in the box? Poor Brad Pitt is going to be charging me for all that. All right, we peel back this wonderful, all right, we've got the Thunderball, we've got the Odd Job, and we've got the Shaken. All right, so I'm going to take out these one at a time. I'm giddy already. Is that wrong? They're socks, but so important. All right, so we've got the Thunderball, beautiful. It's almost like a fabric type of tag that goes on here. Look at this. I don't know if we can get really close. It even has this tiny thing, the 007 collection, and look at what we have. Oh my gosh, folks, we've got Thunderball. That's like my second favorite movie. #1 heritage movie. Come on. And take a look at some of the details. We'll get up really close, but on the back of this tag, you can see that there's writing. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like, oh, that's where it's made. And hold on. The Thunderball, part of our exclusive 007 collection. These socks are all set to make a splash. Love the marketing. So take a deep breath, dive into your wardrobe, fish out your most trusted navy sweater and deep blue jeans, and get ready to make waves. All right, folks, here's the first point. Each one of these socks comes with a little bit of a sartorial tidbit. What? It's very cool. By the way, very, very soft. I love that the way that they're made with a honeycomb welt. All right, that really does show it's extremely well made. These aren't socks that are going to just fall apart in the wash. let's get up and close. Now we've got the odd job right here. All right. So there we've got that pictured. Love the green. It's got this wonderful muted green, but you know, the hat is lifting off from his hand. It could have been enough just to have it on his head. But here we go. Looking to let your outfit do all the talking? Then let's take it for a spin with a crop gray trousers and classic black Chelsea boot. Onlookers far and wide will be bowled over. Let me break this down, what's happening right now, as I pick up the martini ones, the shaken, if you will. This is an experience. It's not just a pair of socks. And by the way, they are a pair of socks. They're incredibly well made. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that with the founder of the company very shortly. But this is also giving you tips and experience. So it lives beyond the sock itself. So there we've got the shaken. And I'm showing some hero shots of this as well, so you can really see what these look like. But there's another box. Now you can buy these individually. I think they're about 10 quid. Look at me acting like I know what I'm talking about. About 10 quid. And here is the second box. Now these are sold as gift boxes that you can, and why wouldn't you get all of them? I mean, I'm not plugging for them, but why wouldn't you get all of them? This one is the agent. And I'm not going, you know what? I'm not going to read you all the backs of these, because if you order them, I want you to experience them for the first time. If I sat there reading these, you would watch the video, read these, and no. You have to experience the sock. This has a wonderful pinkish hue, but it's got even the off ivory jacket of Connery. That's definitely Connery there in a very classic pose, even with the carnation, just like in Goldfinger and some of his other films. That's a go-to. I love pink or red socks. They kind of have a Britishness to them, but nothing has more of a Britishness than the shoot. By the way, that's literally what it's called, the shoot. And the shoot is that iconic, let me peel it back a little bit, that iconic Union Jack from, of course, The Spy Who Loved Me. When he makes the jump, look at this, look at that. Imagine somebody, you're sitting in a meeting. Remember when we used to sit in meetings? You're sitting in a meeting, you're out on a date, you're on the town, and somebody spies, excuse the pun, I told you they'd come. Somebody spies your feet, and they see that this is on them. They know this scene from Bond. You know that scene from Bond. And then they've got the double O, which is just that. This could be any one of the Bonds. A classic pose on here. Let me bring it up close. Doing that whole, isn't that the Bond experience pose? Isn't it like that? I've got to check the copyright on. There is no copyright on that. But look at that. I mean, you've got those all over. You've got a great blue. And by the way, the blue itself is different than the other blue. This is important. Let's walk away from the fact that these are whimsical. They are whimsical. You've got to, if you're not embracing your fun and you're funny, go wear your black socks. Go wear your white socks. If you want to embrace your fun and your connection to Bond, these are the ones, all right? But you know something? Let's talk to the man himself. You know, there was a spark that started this all. Let's go right to it. Dan Zell, the founder of the London Sock Exchange, which, by the way, I love that, Sock Exchange. Had to be very purposeful, but welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
And, you know, we've got to talk about some really fun things right off the bat. So before we get into the Bondish moment of the discussion, talk to me about your company. I know that you are a founder, and 2014, I believe. So you don't harken back to the 1700s like some of the other British brands, which isn't a bad thing. Very innovative brand, but how did it all come about?
So I founded the company with my friend Ollie, who I still run the company with to this day, back in 2014. And we started life as a sock subscription company. So we saw this truth amongst our friends and our families that especially guys love wearing socks, love getting new socks regularly, but hate having to go shopping, and thinking about choosing them themselves. So we devised this idea that said, okay, what if we can start sending people socks in the post on a regular basis that fit through their letterbox, complete with styling notes, fun, playful British design, and also help them recycle their old socks. So that was the original idea. We said, what if we could just do socks differently? And in doing that, we got into the sort of weird and wonderful world of designing men's socks. And today we still have a subscription that's a really popular product, especially around Christmas, but we also just have a lot of fun designing great socks that you can buy as a one-off.
Well, I tell you what I found remarkable when I was doing some research, and obviously, when we connected with each other, I was highly interested in, okay, socks. And it's interesting. I think you know something about my channel, but we're a very sartorial clothing brand oriented channel. So socks actually do mean something to us. But in my head, in most men's heads, socks are socks. And then I read about your socks, and they are different. I mean, they're made different, even around the ankle and how they hug and how they connect. Was it a conscious move on your part to say, I just don't want this to be another off the peg sock?
Yeah, exactly that. So neither me nor Ollie have a background in textiles or manufacturing, which meant that we could come into it with some naivety. So we really had to learn from scratch, how do you manufacture a sock? And what we saw was that there were choices that we could make in the design process and in the manufacturing process that meant that we could make a better quality sock without it costing the earth. And in short, that meant you being creative in how we use different yarns and different machines or processes to make the sock. So I guess the easiest way to summarize it is we use good quality yarns, but we use luxury production techniques. So for example, we'll use a yarn which is of a quality that you might find in like J. Crew, so good quality, but not kind of like finest cashmere. But we'll then use processes like finishing the socks by hand for a seamless fit on the toe, which usually you'd only find in a $30-40 pair of socks. But we know that we can do that using these perfectly good sort of day-to-day yarns, and that gives us a better finish on the sock. Likewise, using 200 needle count weaves, so weaving our socks with 200 needles rather than 150 that you probably find on a standard sock on the high street, for a finer and a stronger finish. So we really kind of got to pull apart the whole way that a sock is made, and then put it back together in a way that allows us to have fun making these great designs, but also giving our customers what we think is a better quality sock for a reasonable price.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I think that I'm a believer, it sounds like you are as well, that, you pay a little bit more for quality, it's going to last longer. You don't have to buy 100 socks. You need to buy 10 pairs of good socks, and those are going to last you. And I love the fact that, as a creative individual myself, the amount of whimsy that you put in this. So you and Ollie, and by the way, my viewers are fascinated with these stories. So no detail is too much, I promise you. But at some point, you and Ollie must have been having a Negroni or a gin and tonic and been like, you know what we haven't covered yet? We haven't covered James Bond. But how does that discussion ensue, and where do you take it from there?
Yeah, so it's a great point. Ollie and I get together and we think about the sort of the new season or whatever, and we say, right, what motifs are we going to play with for this season? And you'll see on our website we've got all sorts of weird and wonderful socks with pigeons on, or we have a lot of birds actually, parrots. We've got socks with pretzels, socks with little Scottish people, all sorts of stuff. So we just sort of think. I think whimsy is a nice word for it. We love being playful and surprising without being kind of novelty in how we design. So the devil tends to be in the detail. The Bond thing came about. They actually came to us. So yeah, we got an email from the team at Eon, because one of the guys in the office there in London had a pair of our socks, and they said, "We love your socks. New films coming out. We're looking at merchandising and so on. Would you be up for having a chat?" And obviously we thought about it for all of 5 seconds, and we got on the phone very quickly. And yeah, such a nice team to work with. And actually, the creative process was really fun because I think they fed in as many ideas as we did. And in the end, actually, we got to a slightly different place than they'd anticipated and also that we'd anticipated, which was a really, really fun process, actually.
I can imagine. And I've, of course, as we're talking, we're putting up images of the socks right now, and I'll actually be reviewing the physical socks myself shortly. But one of the things I thought to myself that I have to ask you is, out of the huge bank of creative material for 25 films, how
Yeah.
did you choose the images that were going to be on the socks?
Yeah. Great question. I suppose if you get into the technical side of it, when you're creating an image, and we do these sort of very small detailed images, as you can see, you need whatever you're depicting to be really iconic. You kind of look at it and you get it straight away. You can see what it is. And certain things translate really well into that medium and certain things don't. So there was a lot of trial and error, very hard. For whatever reason, we've always found it really hard to put a car on a sock and make it look good or recognizable. Because obviously we thought, could we put an Aston Martin on there? It didn't really work. So I suppose the process was, between us, we kind of came up with probably about 20 to 30 different iconic images from the series. So that's everything from Bond in a dinner jacket to the parachute from The Spy Who Loved Me, to the ceramic bulldog on M's desk, to Baron Samedi, and I'm a big Bond fan, so it wasn't a difficult exercise. And then it was very simply a bit of trial and error to say, okay, we sort of design everything digitally, so how do we start to translate that into a stitch-by-stitch design that is recognizable as the iconography from the Bond film? And in the end, we sampled lots and lots of socks, and we got the final 6 that we said, as a first collection, they all feel fantastic, and I'm excited to wear every single pair of these.
Okay, you said something really important I'm going to pause on, because I'm sure everybody heard that. You said first collection. Is this going to be possibly a series?
We didn't get that far. I think, Ollie and I run the sock company very much in kind of with a startup mindset. So we think big and we start small, and that's always how it's been. So when we said to the guys at Eon, who are again fantastic to work with, we said, who knows where this might go, but let's start with 6 designs. Let's not go crazy. Let's not design 100, and we'll do them as a sort of limited run as well in the factory. And if they sell well, who knows? It's been a lot of fun working with them, and we're all really proud of the product. So we haven't got that far, but we'll see. Because certainly for me, creatively, there's more that I'd love to put on a sock from the world of Bond, but we'll see how we go with the provisional 6 that we've got at the moment. Yeah.
Well, I will speak purely as a consumer of your brand. There are several things that immediately hit me, like a Rorschach test, that I think the socks have going for them. First of all, we talked about the quality, that quality of, it being that next echelon up, which I think we all gravitate to. Number 2, the story of you and Ollie. I think every brand that has a great story, a journey to it, is a lot of fun to have. And having a part of that journey or story makes you feel a part of the brand moment. But the biggest things are, number 1, the images are so iconic. They really are. You can see them from afar, which clearly, unless somebody fell down next to you, they would be seeing your socks from afar. But I'll tell you, the other thing is that from a cost standpoint, we have to bring that up, because there's some wonderful, wonderful brands that have luxury products, watches, cashmere sweaters, as you mentioned, Tom Ford suits. What I loved about your socks is a pair of socks is basically 10 pounds. If you want to get a set together, it's 25 quid. And by the way, the box sets are phenomenal. The agent set, etc. The way it comes all packaged together, I think is really approachable by all fans. It isn't something that is just for the deluxe oriented. And I think that's a major plus.
That's really nice to hear. Thank you. And definitely, when Ollie and I started the business, I was working in an advertising agency in London as my sort of full-time day job, and I was not earning much money. And London's an expensive place to live, and there was a problem that I saw that it said, to buy a nice pair of socks, I don't want to be spending £30 for something. And when we got into the manufacturing side of it, we saw it doesn't have to cost the earth to make a really decent, high quality pair of socks. And that was important to us then, and it's still important to us now. So that's very nice to hear. Thank you.
No, absolutely. It was interesting. I was talking to a good friend of mine who also has a sartorial channel called From Tailors with Love, a podcast. And he and I were talking about something that I think is very sobering to men everywhere. Women have a lot of variety of what they can do as far as patterns on their clothes. Men really dressing up for their job, for example, have two things, ties and socks. And essentially that's where you can really flex your creative muscles.
Yeah, it's we've always said that the ankle is an incredibly valuable piece of real estate on a man. As you say, it's a real opportunity to express yourself, your personality, and I think for me, there's a fine line between being kind of colourful and playful versus being kind of over the top and sort of novelty and garish. And we always try and strike that balance to say we want to do something that's fun. And as you say, whimsical, that's exactly the word that we use as well, but not kind of too crazy, too zany. And I think that's always the balance that we try and strike. And certainly that's, I think, where we knew that there was a good fit with the Bond brand, actually, that we could have some fun with it, but it didn't have to be sort of over the top. We could make it classy, but sort of fun and approachable at the same time.
Yeah, it works. You did it. I mean, really, kudos to all of you. And I tell you, it comes in a perfect storm situation because, I use the term storm positively in this case, but even during a pandemic when retail is obviously hurting in many cases, number one, you launched in and around very close to the launch of the new movie. You kept your powder dry, as they say. And then the other thing is it's very close to bumping up to the holidays when people need to start saying, what do I give the Bond fan that has literally everything that they might not have, that's something unique? And, it used to be, and I'm sure you know this over there in the UK as well, getting socks and ties for dad is almost a cliche. Getting James Bond socks is not. It's very unique. So I think it's going to be a hit.
Yeah, that was originally we were due to launch the range in advance of the film launching in April. We did have a good think about when to pitch it in terms of the moment in the year. And we know that September is a sort of moment when people are getting back into their autumn wardrobe, and so on and so forth. So we've seen sort of it's a good time to be testing products. And then, as you say, it gives us a nice run up to Christmas, which is obviously our busiest season every year. Hopefully it can, as you say, solve a few headaches for people that don't know what to get their dad or their brother or their boyfriend, whatever. Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Well, Dan, first of all, thank you so much for jumping on. This was great because literally I was just going to do a review and I think you and I chatted briefly. I said, well, why don't we have a conversation around the journey of making this happen? To me, it's the most interesting aspect.
Well, I absolutely, it's been lovely talking and I love your channel. I mean, I don't know, I've always been a Bond fan since, since I was a kid. Tomorrow Never Dies, that's where it all began, actually. And obviously I work in menswear, and it's so discovering this whole community and all the great stuff that you do has been really neat to bring those two things together. So I'm absolutely thrilled to have been part of it. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Love it. Love it. And what a real, just normal guy. I mean, that's the thing about engaging with these brands. I think people think like, oh, these brands are some hidden entity. I mean, these are real people behind here. These are people that you could easily have a conversation over a beer or a martini. But I love the fact that they've started this. They took a fun company and they gravitated to Bond. I love the reasons behind it. I love the journey, the story. But you've got a chance to kind of own a piece of this. Again, it's one of these things where you're not investing these significant amounts of revenue behind this to acquire these. So if you're looking for something fun, but the other thing, like I said, is, I mean, these are kind of perfect, like, excuse the pun, stocking stuffers. I mean, stocking the stuffer with stuffing the stocking with stocking stuffers that are socks. That's the new tagline. I will send you the bill, London Sock Exchange. No, but really, I mean, this is just a very simple gift. Quite frankly, you know, I have these, you know, gatherings of friends over, and sometimes I'll put them, you know, swag bags and things like that, little goodie bags like we're 5 years old, because we're 5 years old. I would just throw these in there. Just throw these in there, and it's just a nice surprise. It's a one size fits all. I love these. So yes, I'm going to toss these in the washer, and I will be wearing these. And thank you very much for being on the show. Sock Exchange, you can find these at their website. You can find these online. You can find these at the 007.com. We'll put down the links below, but lots of fun. And I'm hoping that what I kind of push the envelope on happens, where I want more of these. You know, I can think of all types of things. You know what would be really cool is the Atlantis from I was going to say Moonraker, The Spy Who Loved Me. You know, just Stromberg's Atlantis all over these in like a really cool aquatic blue with like wave pattern. Anyway, this has been David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. I got to get my feet toasty and warm. We'll talk to you real soon. Take care. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond Experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.